Oh, there's Steve, inviting him up. Steve, you should be able to just accept at the top of your screen the
Hey guys,
to speak. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
good. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for joining us today. Steve, do you have anything you want to share via screen share, or is this just a voice chat today?
This is like an AMA, pretty much.
Okay, no problem. Great. Well, let's get started here. So thanks everyone for joining. I'm sure a couple other people will stream in here through the next few minutes as we get going. Goal of today is to have Steve talk to us about the top drawer, his top drawer merchant company that has put in a proposal in the forum into the DAO. This is a competing proposal to Lorax Dude original proposal to create a merchant store for the DAO. And Lorax Dude was very generous enough, seeing the potential here, to want the community to hear out this proposal before going forward with his that actually passed. So, Steve, I'm going to hand it over to you to kind of give an intro and give a overview of what Top Drawer is and what you guys are offering in your proposal and any other details you want to go in. And then, myself, Lorax, Dude, Tyler might have some questions for you. We'll also invite questions from the audience, either via raising their hand or via the stage chat. So with that, please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I'm just going to go and just kind of tell our story and history really briefly, and then go into what we propose, and then take some questions if there's any. So we started our business about 10 years ago. My partners and I decided that we just wanted to have like a really positive, charitable streetwear brand. The brand is electricfamily.com, and we quickly became the biggest streetwear brand in the electronic music scene, which was interesting because we never set out to be in electronic alone. It was just supposed to be multiple music genre support. And all of the DJs basically just fell in love with our brand, supported us, and we did like a charitable initiative. So if we did a collaboration with Skrillex, for example, he would pick a charity, and part of the proceeds would support a charity of his choice. And then that just caught fire. 100 collaborations later, we were named to Forbes list for what later became known as influencing. We were doing this well before that word ever existed. And then at that point, all these artists started asking us, hey, can you make our merch and manage our e-commerce business? So we founded Top Drawer about 5 years ago, and basically had a huge book of clients overnight. And that just continues to be the beast that we work with. So my partners and I had been in cryptocurrency for a very long time. Our first experiences were in like 2015, 2016. And then our passion for that led to one of our investors actually getting us a little bit more deeply involved into some projects with merch and NFTs. And so now, fast forward, we have become a destination for people who are serious about having an e-commerce business in the crypto NFT space, and creating specific utilities and interesting components, having their merch stores accept cryptocurrencies on the website, and so on and so forth. So just to give you a list, we work with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, Gutter Cats, Badger DAO, IOTA, several other NFT projects that are yet to be released. So I'm going to keep those quiet for now, just for the sake of secrecy for them. But it's been a really interesting part. We've done everything from gamification to whitelisting only members that have, for example, a specific token or a NFT in their wallet only get access to certain pieces, or pieces available to the public. There was many ways that we made this really interesting. One of which was with Badger. You got, like, for example, for a specific purchase, a really high-end baseball jersey that came in a unique box, individual numbered jerseys that also had a really cool specific utility. So that wallet had a few extra components to do things that others didn't inside of the DeFi platform Badger DAO. But we're really, really pushing forward. We're going to continue to be working with companies, and the list is growing exponentially, at least in the crypto and NFT space. So we are very, very focused on bringing what we have to our own brand into all the brands that we work with. We're a team of about 70 people, and we're based in Los Angeles, California. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to work with you guys and show you, why we're able to basically we're able to just pick who we want to work with. It's been a luxury. We used to say yes to everybody, and now we're in a position where we're getting to choose who we decide to work with, which is really bizarre, but it's awesome. So I would love to work with you guys. Known Eric for a long time as just a crypto enthusiast, and known who he was, and I've known of ShapeShift and been involved for a while. So very, very happy to be on this call, and I guess I'll open it up to anybody if they got specific questions from here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for that overview, Steve. Before we get into more specific questions that I want to get into too, could you also just give a quick high-level overview of what the proposal is you posted to the forum, e.g. what is actually
Yes.
proposed to the DAO?
Yes, so the proposal consists of basically a blueprint that we came up with that would work for the DAO. And so what we would do is create a store for the DAO, and so it would be available to everybody as far as who wants to support ShapeShift merchandise. We don't do anything low quality. Like we there's a lot of people out there that are basically trying to squeeze every penny out of the margin to their customers, and so we took a firm stance against that and using like lower quality blanks and items that just don't really feel like it's quality. And so just to know that we're going to put forth really good high quality products is something I obviously just want to reiterate. So we are focused on making sure like anything that we would want to do for our own brand, we do for every single brand, and we bring all those same resources to that partner. And so for our proposal, we would create, let's say we would start off with like a core capsule collection, and the core collection would be consisting of let's say a t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, hoodie, hat, something along those lines, just to get started. And then we try to continue to run like a streetwear based operation. So we'll do drops that consist of limited edition items or new items like frequently, versus just having a couple of shirts up there that say HODL Fox or something. Like there's a lot of stores out there we see in the crypto world that could be doing a lot better, and that's the only thing they sell is like their logo shirt or a HODL shirt or something along those lines, like and it's just like a black or white option. So we'd like to be a little bit more creative than that and creating stuff that you would feel proud to wear, and also makes it feel like it's a higher piece quality item that you're proud to wear. And when people these are conversation starters, so like as you're all investors in this business, holders of Fox token or whatnot, I mean, when you wear these products proudly, it's a conversation starter. It helps build brand awareness. People say, hey, what is that logo? Like, we want it to be cool, so it starts conversations at breakfast, lunch, and dinner tables wherever you're wearing this. So that's one thing about it. How it would work is, let's say, for example, we would build the store, get it all up. We wouldn't need to have any kind of support from funding from the DAO, so we would keep that, and we would just, out of good faith, just build you a store, and the store would accept all major credit cards and then all major cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, USDT, just to name a few. And then you would just connect your wallet just like you would any other way, or just pay with credit cards. A lot of people don't want to spend their crypto because they're saving and they're not wanting to use it on items in the physical world. So you'll have all the options to convert on something if you want. And then the way it would work on the split would be we would just cover the costs on the product, and then we would split the profits afterwards, and 65% would go back to the DAO. And then as far as like what the DAO does with their portion is kind of up to the DAO. And but that's in a nutshell basically how it would work. And then we would just continue to maybe make designs, open to using designs from outside designers at any time. If there's like ever a nomination for someone to design for us, great. What we would like to see happen is we would maybe come down to like the 2 strongest designs for a new item, and then we would put those up for vote in the DAO, and then based on which one is the highest vote getter, then we would use that one as like our next release, so to speak. But that's kind of the stride that we'd like to hit, and basically in a nutshell how we feel it would work. But yeah, that's it for me as far as like how it would work with the DAO. And if you guys got questions, let me know.
Great, Lorax. I know you only have a few minutes before you have to leave. Do you want to get in any questions on your side?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Steve, for jumping on the call and doing this AMA. I
Yeah.
think first off, I want to I think it's really awesome you guys reached out to the DAO, given that kind of the resources TDM and the experiences your team has. I really believe that you guys could take the merch store to the next level a lot sooner. So I just want to say that I do support this proposal. Um, and I'm grateful that
Awesome.
you guys actually you guys reached out to us. Like, you guys want to work with the DAO, and the specifics on the proposal sound really great to me. I guess one question, a few questions I had in mind was, you want to with developing this partnership with the DAO, like what does TDM want to achieve with the DAO long term? Like what kind of is the big picture kind of achievement that's on? Yeah.
Great question. So to answer that, I would say we're really selective on who we work with and who we open up our resources to. So a couple years ago, Top Drawer was we had a merger with Empire Records. Empire Records is the biggest hip hop record label in the U.S. Out of San Francisco. They've got everyone from Snoop Dogg to Birdman. They've got a lot of people on their roster, and we handle all of their clients as well as Coachella is a client of ours. Just to name like Cascade, a few like most of like the larger DJs are also on our roster. So our long-term vision is that those people also become someone that is in a collaborative nature to possibly influence for Fox or ShapeShift and just basically be an extension of us through us. And so the long-term goal would be to grow the merch brand to be obviously like super cool, authentic, and be worn by people all over the world. And then in addition to that, our real goal is just to bring awareness to ShapeShift and Fox Token as much as we can, because if we're all investors here into this, I mean, the goal is to obviously do the best we possibly can for our investments. And with a merch platform, I think it's important to have quality merch, have a great look, and to have a professional feel. Because there's nothing worse in today's day and age, in my opinion, than having a customer experience that is subpar. And like we're here to compete with the Amazons of the world. Like for the first few releases, we usually do what's called a pre-sale. Though the pre-sales are basically a low risk for everybody. So then you purchase it, and then the product will ship out 5 to 6 weeks later, and then you get the product. And then the profit that's used from the DAO, for example, there'll be a conversation at one point to switch it to production first, so then we can hit our main goal, which is the customer experience being flawless like Amazon. All of our customers basically start out the same way like this. Then we switch to a model where the product is paid for basically up front, and then the split is the same after the fact for the profits. But then when a customer orders on second or third or fourth drop, whenever we make the switch, you get the confirmation, it ships out within 24 hours, and then you get the product right away. And the more people are getting products that are happy, that are taking a picture of it, tagging Fox and ShapeShift, and growing brand awareness, like that's our long-term goal. We want this to be a logo that people recognize. It's not just some Fox looking logo people don't know. I mean, as crypto becomes more mainstream and becomes like a household name, and we cross this chasm into the a mass adoption, I think having the strongest logos is important. And that's another part of the reason why we decided to reach out, because we really believe in this. The branding, the overall big picture is something that we feel is somewhere that we can make an impact with this merchandise proposal.
That's awesome.
I hope that answered
Thank
your
you.
question. Yep.
And another follow-up question is, I know you kind of, it's not articulated in the current proposal.
Sure.
Just but you did a really great job explaining it a bit ago, so you kind of already question in terms of like what is the process for engaging members from the DAO, and on graphic designs for products.
Sure.
And I kind of just wanted to ask and see like what other like supportive opportunities is TDM considering or have in mind to engage and support members of the DAO?
I mean, honestly, I think that would be an ongoing conversation throughout time. Because if I was to say, hey, we're going to do X, Y, Z, and then there's something on there that maybe someone feels that their needs aren't being met, we want to just keep that as like an open door policy. Like, we're always going to be members here. We're always going to be open to just shoot me a message. Like if there's some conversation that there's an opportunity, most of those opportunities require a call or a conversation saying, hey, like what's your idea? What's your goal? We're always open to ideas. So I mean, the most generic idea would be like, hey, if we have somebody that wants to design a piece of merch, great. That's the easiest thing. I mean, we've got a full staff, about 5 full-time designers. I mean, so we're more than capable just to handle it and then vote and then see which ones are the strongest. As the goal here is to always, just be open to ideas and in any type of opportunity that you think is a good idea, we'll listen. So I think that's probably the best answer at this time. But I mean, we're open to it. As far as like this becoming a way to, make it be a personal income stream for the artist. Like, I don't know if that's like the initial goal that you had in mind, but typically if we do like artist artwork that's outside, we usually just pay like a one-time fee, whatever it may be. And then, for the artist time. And then we just, if it's like, for example, our design, and then we have another vote up against like an outside designer from the DAO or whoever it is. I mean, sure, absolutely. If that's the winning vote, then we'll just have a discussion with them and try to compensate them for their time, and maybe we can use some of the DAO funds to reward them if it's a DAO chosen member. I think that's but just to keep an open mind here, and we're always available to reach out to and discuss. It's not like we're gonna cut off and we have to cut off the DAO and run everything our way. We're a member of this team, so we're always going to be open, whatever that may be.
Sounds great. And one thing that was kept it seemed to be in high demand when I submitted my proposal was the acceptance of Fox payments. I don't know if that still is in demand, but I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on if that would be applicable to the merch store as well.
Yeah, I'll just add on. There's multiple people in the chat asking about that, so it definitely has.
So, great question. And to be honest, I think we like to make database decisions, right? And so a lot of our previous experiences with this are, even if we offer an extra token, they end up never really being used. And although it's a great thing to say, most people will end up paying $30 in Ethereum on the Ethereum network because it costs a couple bucks. If we end up integrating Fox token for a payment that's processed on Ethereum, the gas fees are like more than the merch. So that's something that is seriously considered. And so we typically have been staying away from any other tokens outside of Ethereum, BTC, USDC, USDT, because there's we set up a Shopify Plus platform for every store, and on Shopify it's really streamlined already. There's already a few engines on like a back-end application through Coinbase Commerce to process, connect your wallet, and have a payment be flawless without having to add extra coding. Because for us it'd be a lot of extra time just to code it to take Fox payment, and then if it's not high volume, it's just kind of like a huge cost for us to offer our service for, we're offering this for basically nothing. So we try to keep it simple. So that gas fee issue is a really big proprietary, or like a thing that is to be considered here. Because for an Ethereum transaction, if you do try to use crypto, that's the best route to make a transaction with the lowest cost. And then credit card obviously being the absolute lowest cost because the transaction fee is cheap.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do think you would see pretty high potential volume, at least from this community, in regards to paying in Fox payments. So I hope that is something you will consider. That's actually
definitely a discussion we're going to continue to have. I don't think it's a decision that's going to be made right here on the spot, but we're open to it. It's not like we haven't done it before, but it would require a little bit more work on the coding side and the developer side, which we'll cross that bridge. I mean, maybe not on the first job. Maybe we can do it and move forward, but maybe there'll be like specific items that you can only pay for Fox token. I mean, I guess opportunities are endless. We just have to come together and see what works best. Because the last thing we would want to do is, have some kind of issue where if we accept Fox tokens and then transactions are having issues, or like I said, the gas fees are worth more or costing more than the merch. I understand. but we'll be open to doing whatever everyone is voting for, and if that's something that's of interest, I mean, we'll definitely figure it out.
Great. Well, we'll leave that for now, but appreciate that the answer is not necessarily a yes or a no, but you all are open to the idea. I think
Of
that's
course.
pretty important to our community.
Of course.
Great.
Anybody
Thanks,
else?
Steve.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't have any more questions. I would love to hear some questions from the community before I hop off the call. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, let's open it up.
Yeah, anyone in the community who wants to jump up on stage, please feel free to raise your hand. We'll get you up here. There are some questions in the stage chat, so I will just read that until other people raise their hand, and we'll go from there.
Great.
So first, just kind of scrolling up, there's a number of questions. Ron in the audience asked, what's the time frame from proposal passing and being funded to functioning store being up?
Great question. So basically, it's how motivated you guys are, and we have a pretty simple process. So the first steps will be design, and so we usually design, let's just say, the first collection or the release, and then once we get confirmation, we have to build out a tech pack for production, basically just making some samples, and then the samples take a couple of weeks, and then to put forth a professional store, we usually have our in-house photography team do some like white box e-commerce photos, then do like some lifestyle shots with some actual humans in it and models, and then building out the store with the product descriptions and getting the store fully functioning. I would say we like to say usually a month, but with this still going through the voting process, and let's just say that part wraps up towards the end of October, realistic time would be December, because there's it's really busy time for us with Black Friday. I think like the middle 2 weeks in November, it's basically no new projects get really worked on because we have to get about 60 brands ready for a release for Black Friday. And but the design part is in motion. I'm talking about preparing the website. So the design process is the most important, confirming the product, then physically making the samples is the next step, and waiting for those. That time will pass. And then once we get the physical samples, the photography is done like within a week, and we get the assets back, and we can basically flip on the store and get it fully functioning with. So I would say realistic would be December, and then we would just have to decide, on a release date, market it properly, and we usually typically try to do a release on a Friday, so that way we have all week to reveal product photos and get everyone fired up about it. And then we usually do the first release would be like a limited time offering, for example, and we would do Friday through, let's say, Monday for that weekend, and just kind of go from there and see what did well, what didn't work well, and then we always just try to continue to create like a new product or do a new release on a regular basis. We try to do something every 30 to 45 days. And then eventually there'll be a point where there's, let's call it your evergreen collection that's always in stock and the store is always open, but that will usually come after like the first 2 drops. And then once we get to that stage where we flip to like the products actually in stock, ready to be shipped within 24 hours.
Great, thank you for that additional color.
Sure.
Let me see here. We have some other questions in the chat. So Gray Machine asks, if you are avoiding community design content, where do the designs come from?
So the designs come from mostly our internal team. So basically we would send forth, I guess we could do this to the DAO, but typically what we do when we work with a specific artist or individual or brand, we send a link, and the link is basically a questionnaire or quote unquote a mood board, and it has a link to, or it has a space where you upload the brand assets, because we'll need all the vector files for the brand. Then it just gives you an opportunity to speak what you feel you're looking for. If there's anything specific, like, hey, here's a link to a hoodie that I think looks really cool. Can we make something like this? And so that way our design team isn't, throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks. and that they kind of come back with the first round of mock-ups, and we're hitting the vision pretty good. And then if those first round are approved, great, we can start moving to samples. If there's some small edits that we need to make, then we make them, and then hopefully we're at round 2, we're finalized and moving to sampling. But that's basically the process. I mean, as far as the designs, we typically just handle them internally, and once that mood board link is filled out, it goes into our design queue, and then the designers start to get it into their workflow. And then if there's an outside designer, for example, we would just have to be aware someone's putting in time to design something, so we can all review all the designs.
Awesome. Miss is asking how this compares to your proposal, Lorax. Do you want to answer that from your perspective? If you're still available.
I don't think I could give a great answer because I do gotta hop off in a minute. I think there's a lot of similarities. I think the difference is there was some feedback provided from my proposal, such as providing a gift box that involved a keep key and some prints of kind of the values and mission and purpose of the DAO, with some merch. I think those are some pretty strong distinctions. Trying to recall what else. One thing of what the mind was that there was an intent to have Fox payment, but as Steve said, that is a very tough thing to do at this time. What else? Sorry, I'm drawing blanks right now. But that's a great question. I could drop the link to my proposal if anyone wanted to give it a glance, and I have to jump off right now. But thank you so much, and thanks Steve again for doing the same AMA.
Yeah, I'm always here.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining, Lorax, dude. We'll see you later. All right. Well, next question. Gray Machine asks, and I know you answered this a little bit, but maybe you can go into a little more detail on this, Steve.
Sure.
Have TDM worked with other DAOs?
Yes, Badger DAO is the one that we've got the most experience with. So I'm not sure what specific questions you have about how we worked with the DAO, but we've got a lot of experience working with DAO, or working with a DAO.
And I guess what's that been like working with Badger DAO? How is that different than working with companies, or how do you engage the community in a way that is more DAO focused?
To be honest, we did multiple different approaches with Badger. For one, the conversation started the exact same way. We sent a message in the forum. It's still up there, and then it got voted up. Then we ended up talking to the team at Badger, and we came up with something really cool. So there is, for example, is there a way to share a link in the AMA?
Yeah, so above the channel, there's the stage chat. So if you want to drop a link there in stage chat, people will be able to see it there.
Where is stage chat? Oh, okay, the channel.
Yep.
Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to drop a link in there to show you something that we did with Badger. Okay, so where are... Okay, here we go. So I'm dropping this link. It's an OpenSea link. It is not a scam link. And this is a link to a NFT of a physical piece of merchandise that we did with Badger. So this exact product is something that we made in real life, which I will show here also in the stage chat room. So as you can see, hold on, I'm just uploading a few more pictures. So if you look there, we basically made this piece of merchandise. It was a really, really, really high-end jersey, and the jersey was made from the most expensive product like materials that you could make. It's probably the coolest thing we've ever made at our company. And it came in a really nice box, and when you opened the box, there was a message from it, and there was only 200 of these made, and they were $2,000 a piece, and they sold out in literally 2 seconds. And the reason behind it was you also got that NFT with that physical piece of merch. And as a wallet holder with Badger, if you have this NFT in your wallet, you got specific other utilities in their DAO or in their DeFi platform versus other people. And so it was a really, really cool initiative. And the top 1,000 Badger holders got access to the sale. And we got a snapshot done of the wallet holders that held the most Badger. And this was a way to reward people that were believing in their project early on. And so I'm not saying this is something we need to do for you guys. It's just I'm explaining what it was and how we worked with them. And so if you got this NFT, there's a thing that Badger does called a boost. And if you have a specific NFT, not just this one, there's other NFTs out there that they've done with like, Don't Buy Meme and a few others, that you get a boost in your wallet on the interest and the APY if you hold this. And then the jersey, the physical component, was something cool to get, almost like bragging rights, in a way. Like, I don't even think people wear it though. It's so nice. I think some people framed it and hung it on a wall in their office and are keeping it pristine. But this is a cool initiative, and we handled everything from the NFT to the snapshot to working with them on it for the distribution of the NFT. So it was a really cool initiative, but I'm not saying this is something that we needed to do for you guys. It's just something that we do for them. So baseball jerseys are amazing. We do them for tons of huge clients. I think any baseball jersey in the music industry goes through us, but we make really, really nice athletic apparel. So something we could do. I think a ShapeShift jersey would be epic with the fox on it. But I guess I'll open up to other questions. Or really quick, other ways that we've worked with the DAO is we just do really cool gamification. So we figure out ways to make the drops have like something different versus like, hey, here's our merch store, buy a t-shirt. So that this is a great example of the highest possible level. I mean, which took participation from them with their emissions on the tokens and whatnot. And I mean, maybe there was another one where we did a lottery. We did basically, if you bought a piece of merchandise in the specific drop window, then 3 random winners they won a lottery for X amount of, let's just say, Fox tokens. So if you bought a piece of merchandise to support the DAO, because the profits help support the DAO gave 3 golden tickets, for example, and 3 people got their piece of merch, got this golden ticket with instructions on how to claim basically an airdrop of their native token, which was really cool. But trying to think of cool ways to make the merch experience different and more exciting than just buying like a t-shirt that says Fox on it is what we're here.
Yeah, very cool. I know that that's something the DAO community has talked about here in ShapeShift, is around the idea of having various promotions like this, or even selling NFTs connected to the store. So that sounds very cool, right up our alley. So to be clear, it wasn't like those were redeemable for the jersey. They got the jersey and the NFT, and then they could sell the NFT separately. Is that how that worked in that case?
Correct. I mean, the NFTs are still holding like they're selling for more than what they're worth. I mean, and people still have the jersey. Like there's some of those NFTs have sold for $6,000-$7,000 on the aftermarket. So I'm forgetting what your exact question was specifically, but we've done other options too. For example, we worked with our Cat Gang, an NFT project where we basically just had an NFT token, and then you bought the token with ETH, and then each token that you purchased was basically a collection of merchandise. So for example, if I'm a guy, I have a medium-sized t-shirt, medium hoodie, you bought the token that was the token for I'm a size medium tee, I'm a size medium hoodie. And then you buy the token, and then it was limited edition and only for a limited time, and then you had to burn the token to claim the merchandise, and when the token was burned, we got the notification to ship it out. And then there's a bunch of people that are holding on to it, seeing if the token goes up in value and they can resell it for more. And but we make all of the merchandise for every token that was purchased, and then we house it until the last one is redeemed and shipped out. But I have a feeling there's going to be, 10 to 20 packages that never go out because people are total at seeing if anything ever happens in the future for a Genesis merch drop, is what they call it there. But just trying to make it really a unique experience is what we're trying to focus on, and open to any ideas. If someone in the DAO comes up with a cool idea, let's talk about it.
Very cool. Yeah, thank you for going into that. That's a great example of how some of this stuff can work. What you did with Badger. So one question I have, while we wait for other questions, and again, I'll go out to the community. We've got about a little over 20 minutes left, so community, either raise your hand or type questions in the stage chat. But I know in the proposal, it basically said that 65%, I think, of the profits from sales would go back to the DAO. Can you go into a little more detail about how that would be calculated and how that would be transparently shown with the community about how that profit is calculated, and also what would that look like in terms of sending to the treasury? Would you all just send USDC to the treasury, or how would that work?
So good question. As far as the profit, so let's say the 65% of the profit goes to the DAO. As we're a business, we need to figure out a way to work with you that works for both of us on the accounting side. I mean, we don't have the capabilities right now to just send crypto to you guys unless we have to kind of just discuss that. I mean, to be honest, like we've done that once for somebody, but for the most part on our websites are very trained to eliminate volatility. So for example, the accounting side, like for example, if we have a Friday through Sunday merch drop, Friday we sell a ton, a lot of people use Ethereum or Bitcoin or Fox token, whatever, and then on Saturday China bans Bitcoin again for the 20th time or something, and the market tanks, that really hurts us in the DAO too. So we try to convert all of the cryptocurrency to US dollar right away when the transaction's done. It's done via Stripe, and that way we just pay you out with US dollar. Because if we hold on to it, there is volatility. There's never a guarantee, and for all the hard work that's done on it, then the stable coins are a great option. That's why we offer it. Someone just asked that. So
yeah, I mean, in the ShapeShift DAO's case, I mean, there is no bank account. There is no one you can send US dollars to. So this is actually a really important point. Like, you will have to, for this to work, you will need to find a way to send those profits to the treasury, and the treasury is just an on-chain smart contract. So
I mean, that is something that we also have the capability to convert the US dollar into crypto. So it's not like we go the opposite direction, but for our books, I mean, a lot of the drops that we were doing are, a very, very large dollar amount. So the question is just a conversation that we need to have on how you want it to work. But
for sure, bring it up, and it would be up to the community. I guess what I would say is, I don't think anyone would have any issue with you guys converting to dollars to protect against volatility. But at some point, whether it's every 2 weeks or once a month or on some timeline, some sort of transaction has to take place from TDM back to the DAO treasury, and that will need to be on chain somehow.
Correct. So how that usually works is if people pay with US dollar, then we have the US dollar, and then, for example, our good friends at Coinbase have a great program. If you purchase USDC, there's no fees, and so it would probably be most likely a USDC transfer to you guys.
Gotcha. And yeah, USDC would be totally fine. Basically, any Ethereum asset the treasury could take, and I think the treasury, everyone would be happy if the treasury was getting USDC that way. So
cool. And then again, like we can fix the site to, for example, just make sure any like if there's any coins that have potential volatility, we can just change those over to a stable coin right away. Or, I mean, we'll have that conversation when it gets to that point, but we'll work with you guys on it. It's not really an issue. It's just something we figure out what works for us.
Great. Hey, Never Was. See, you hopped up on stage. You got a question?
apologize. I'm traveling as usual, but I just wanted to say to that point you guys were just talking about. I do know of some possibilities as aspects of taking crypto and then having it translate into different things or percentages and stuff from different coins and as well as regular fiat. So, like for one example is Fluffy Pony's one of his products was Globy. I'm driving, but I can get the links and share it later on if we want to go down that rabbit hole. But Globy basically integrates with Stripe and another program, another e-commerce thing, and you can basically specify how much percentage of the transaction is turned into different cryptocurrencies, as well as what gets translated right into fiat right away, so that the transfer is kind of split right at that time.
Sure.
I'm not sure if that's you guys want to go down options out there, the community and everyone can explore together and figure something out if we had to.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll have to just have a discussion, and if there's any products out there that you guys recognize that something of interest, definitely we're have the ability to review it and see if it makes.
Great. Yeah, good point. Never was. And yeah, it sounds like, Steve, you all are very open to figuring that out and to finding a way to make sure the DAO gets its profits on chain, regularly, which I think is the important part.
Sure.
Great. Yeah, anyone else in the audience? Looks like we got another request, Gray Machine. Gonna invite Gray Machine up here. And once he pops up here, we can listen to his question. Hey, go ahead, Gray Machine.
All right. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, so I want to follow up on this idea of sort of contracting with a established brand versus a DAO, and there's similarities, but I want to highlight the differences.
Okay.
And just make sure that we're all on board with that, because a DAO is like a group run effort, and I know I come from a design background, so I can I work my full-time job, I do design, so I appreciate that you might almost have this eye twitch when you're hearing people like, oh, we also want to submit our designs, and you're like, oh, hold on. What also concerns me though is that this is sort of funneled, and there's sort of this gatekeeping of the design group, and it's going to be these perfectly clean, perfectly branded kind of things. What I want to make sure of is that we're open to the idea of, not some free for all of everybody submitting their dumb memes or whatever, but if there are artists within the group, and if we are yes, we would like to submit this, and this is our voice, that we would also like to have this in the store, I want to make sure that is our voice, not something that we submit to you and you're like, we'll think about it, because that's kind of what I've heard so far. We'll think about these ideas. I think that's a critical difference of working with a DAO, that we're group run, right? So we want to be able to submit these ideas and have some sort of diversification of the brand. It's tricky. I'm still trying to figure this out myself, of how do you maintain a brand and how do you be a DAO at the same time, because they're almost kind of at opposite ends of the spectrum, right? A brand is a centrally maintained brand guide, and there's a creative director that establishes what the brand and how much space is around the logo and all that kind of stuff. And then we have people coming in that are just artists that want to work with the brand and make art, and people like it. And that's the bottom line, is somebody makes some art and we want it on a shirt, and that's cool. But I just want to make sure, at least for me personally, I can't speak for others, to vote on this, that there's a voice of the DAO, that we say we want this art on a shirt, and that goes in the store. Not that it's up to the store merchant to say, well, we don't like it, it's it doesn't go in the store. I guess that's my fundamental point.
Sure. Great question. So to answer it more directly, we do work with a lot of people individually that have the same approach that you're talking about. So for example, when we work with an individual who has his own brand, we always just talk about, hey, what is your design goals? We can offer support, and help with designs, but we always ask the individual or the DAO, what they want. It's not like we're telling you, hey, this is the way it's got to be. So if there's designs coming from the DAO, great. We potentially don't even have to do any design work. So there's definitely not a centralized approach to our business whatsoever. We're never telling the person who owns the brand what to do on the design part. That's what that mood board link is for. So the mood board link is like, hey, what do you want to create? Not like, hey, this is what we're going to create for you. We're not like a branding agency. Most brands or individuals, like artists or rappers or whatever we work with, like they do that on their own. So we're here to execute on production, fulfillment, and then in assisting in design. Like we're not here hand drawing designs. Like we're going to create something that looks great. We're more so like making the product come to life. But as far as the design go, we work probably 50% of the people on our roster have their own external designers. So we don't necessarily even touch the designs. They just submit the design packages with the tech packs to us when they're ready. So open to exactly what you're discussing. There's no possibilities of closing out anybody that's a designer, because that's not who we are. We're here to be part of the DAO, and part of the DAO in this brand is deciding, hey, what's best? What do you guys want to do? So we'll work with everyone. It's not just us saying, hey, we'll think about it. That's definitely incorrect.
Great, thanks.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, thanks, Gray Machine. That was a great question. Seeing a few other questions here in the channel, I'll just read them aloud. So Ron asked, is the 35%, I assume he's referring to the 35% that goes to TDM, part of the cost of these graphic designers that would be used, or is that just for the overhead related to the merch? Could you just go into what that 35% goes towards?
Yes. So the 35% is obviously to, cover our costs. I mean, we work really hard, and we've got a very skilled, talented team that executes at the highest level. So the 35% goes to, at least cover our time and the work that we put into it. I mean, there's a lot of costs associated with this business. It's a very difficult business. And so that's kind of a number where we came to that makes sense for us to give all of our resources to the project.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thanks for the explanation. I'll just say personally, I think it's a great setup. 65% going to the DAO, 35% back to TDM seems very generous to me. So I appreciate that. Willie is asking, can TDM do tie-dye?
Yes. I mean, we can basically do whatever you want. We've made anything from like $1,000 jackets to, tie-dye hoodies, t-shirts. We can literally make whatever you want. And then one thing to also mention is the shipping, the logistics part of it. So we do all of our shipping globally from Los Angeles. And so in addition to the 35%, just to be fully transparent to the DAO, the third-party logistics partner in warehouse is they do $450 as a fee for the fulfillment to do the picking, packing, pulling, and that covers the cost of the materials used to enclose the package and then print the labels, get it out the door, and on the way to your home. So that's just usually taken out of off of the top line. And then the like I said, the profit is split 65-30.
Awesome. Willie had another question here.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that his tie-dye one, which is just his personal one. Could TDM do a starter pack for DAO contributors that included things like a keep key and printed materials? Obviously, ShapeShift is very connected to the keep key hardware wallet. And so that would be...
I mean, that was something I wanted to bring up too, is just like, is this something that you would want to integrate into the store? Because we could house the keep keys and be selling the keep keys and having those as part of this store as well. So cross that bridge and maybe in a conversation. But as a starter pack, I guess, how do you determine if someone gets it? Like, do you, when they join the Discord? I don't understand like the just idea behind it. We can create it. We can create anything you want.
Yeah. I think we need to talk with Willie more, but just kind of interpreting him, I think what he means is like there would be like a starter pack for sale in the store. You wouldn't just get it, and people would either buy it for themselves and or maybe the DAO, and this is again where maybe taking Fox would become worth it, is the DAO treasury itself may want to actually purchase like large quantities of these things to give out. And that's where, again, if you could take Fox, it might be hugely beneficial because, you know, by the end of this week, the DAO is going to be holding around $100 million worth of Fox. And the DAO might say, hey, we want to buy a couple $100,000 worth of these things to give out to our community.
Yeah, so in those instances, we would just do, we'd have to have a specific conversation set up on how we want it to work. So we've executed a few of these. For example, we work with the Ape DAO, and the Ape DAO is basically like a fractionalized Bored Ape investor program or protocol, and they're doing something similar where they gave basically a freebie out to all of their wallet holders, which was about 3,000 people, and then we distributed them out. And so basically, we set up a site where basically the person just claims their free item and then checks out as a normal checkout, puts in their information to shipping, and then the way those work is there's like a wholesale cost associated with it. So like let's say the cost of goods is $10, we would add on a couple of bucks to it just so there's some income for it for us for doing all the work and making it out, shipping it out, etc. And but 100%, we're all for it. I think those are great initiatives, especially if it's rewarding people and it's like a gifting mechanism. That's something we can handle like head on, not a problem.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks for going into that detail and very cool idea, Willie. I like that a lot. And on that, he had a little bit of a follow up. Is basically Willie wanted to confirm that if we did that, and I assume in such an example, it's like let's just assume a world where the Treasury buys, a couple $100,000 or even like $500,000 worth of something, whether it's one of these starter packs or shirts it wants to give out. He's basically asking, could TDM handle the drop shipping on that? Let's say the DAO wanted to purchase, 1,000 various shirts to give out to various people, and it wanted TDM to ship them to those people. Is that something that would be possible?
We can basically do. We can basically do anything, to be honest. Yes, it's possible, but we just have to have a conversation about every one of these initiatives is unique. So however it works, we'll just have to have a conversation like, hey, what do you guys want? And we all vote on it and make it happen. We're basically here to make anything you want happen, and we've done it in every single possible way over the last 10 years. So we can make it happen, and we're ready for it. We think this would be a great partnership.
Cool. Yeah, very much appreciate that. I think you're seeing that the DAO is going to have some very creative ideas that might be a little different than other communities or what you might otherwise see. But it's really nice to hear that you all are open to working with us to make things happen. And those are just conversations we would have to have and figure out the details.
Sounds good. And any other questions?
Yeah, so there's another one here. This actually goes back to something you just said, so good timing. Ron asked, you had said the qualities of all the items are all high, which makes me think there is a high cost of goods sold associated with all the items. Could you give us an idea of profit margin we would see for something like a standard, quote-unquote, ShapeShift DAO shirt or sweatshirt?
I don't have the math pulled up in front of me, but let's just work it out here. I'll say for a hoodie, let's say we sell the hoodie for $80, so to speak. A nice top quality hoodie with some branding hits on it, a neck label, a woven label, folded, polybagged, prepped to be shipped out would probably, let's say the cost will be $30, just to throw a number that's even out there. So the profit would be $50, and then 65% of that would be $32.50. So I don't know how else to answer that question more directly, but that's
I think
that would be the profit.
That'd be great. That just gives us an example. Obviously, I don't think anyone expects you to have the exact details when we don't even know what the merch will be yet.
Sure.
Luna Hawk asks, can there be women's cut tees?
So the answer is yes. I think most of the time when we start a project, we do like a unisex approach because it just makes the most sense. So in order to grow and learn more about the customers and the more releases we do, the more information that we get about the appetite that people are having for products, and we can test more products. But I think the first initial release will be like a unisex t-shirt, unisex hoodie, a dad hat, and maybe a premium item like a jersey for. But the answer is yes, absolutely. We can definitely do that. But I think for the most part, we try to make database decisions, and over the past several years, I think the best responses from any DAO or any brand has been a unisex offering.
Awesome. Yeah, I know that's something we've seen with ShapeShift in the past. I think the ShapeShift DAO is interesting, and I'll just kind of opine on this for a second. In that, while we are a DAO, the brand has actually existed for over 7 years. And as co-founder of ShapeShift, I've been getting at conferences and sponsoring booths and things like that, and giving out various merch that we've created. We've gotten so many requests for people to purchase merch over the years because people just really, really love the brand. So I think we have the advantage that the brand is a bit more established than the average new project or DAO, and that can really, really benefit it when it comes to things like merch. So I'm excited for all those possibilities.
Me too. Me too.
Great. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions. We've got about 3 minutes left, and really appreciate the time you've taken, Steve, to come and chat with the community on all of this and answer questions.
Yeah, really happy to be able to have the opportunity here and looking forward to working with you guys.
Absolutely. I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat or anyone raising their hand at the moment, so I think we're probably about good to wrap up. Is there anything else you would like to say to just send us off or leave the DAO with as we end?
Yeah, honestly, just happy to be a part of this group and really looking forward to the future of Fox, ShapeShift, and brand in general. I think it's poised to go very far with a great group of people like this behind it and making decisions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I think with that, we will end this stage session and look forward, Steve, to the proposal advancing through the governance process and being up in Snapshot to vote sometime soon. So
thank you very much. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would invite you that every Thursday we do our weekly governance call. If you can, usually at 3, always at 3 p.m. MDT or 5 p.m. Eastern. If you can make one either this week or next week, I would recommend it because some people who might not be on this call might have some questions about the proposal. That'll be much, 5 or 10 minutes to talk about it, not a full hour. But
sure. I would say I would love to hop on the one next week because Thursday is my birthday and I'll definitely be unavailable.
Yeah, well, no problem. It could be next week. And happy birthday. Happy in a few days.
Appreciate it, guys. I'll be in touch and looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.